sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
This is Dan Jurgen.
This is Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action.
This is Mark Wade, writer of Superman Birthright.
And you're listening to The Krypton Report.
The Krypton Report podcast is dedicated to all things Superman, Supergirl, and the planet Krypton. We discuss movies, TV, game, comics, and all things DC. So join me, Tyler, with my co-host James and Jania.
Welcome to the Krypton Report. This is going to be kind of a small kind of conversational piece just for fun. I was sitting around talking with James and was like, you know what? Let's do a pitch meeting. So this is what we call it. Tyler pitches to James. And James kind of talks back. With me is James, as I just said. Hello, James.
Hey, Tyler.
What's going on, man?
Oh, just a lovely Saturday morning.
Oh, yeah. Cold Ohio, drinking my Zoa. The cat's looking at me like it's going to kill me.
That's always like...
Yeah. Sayla's watching some Scooby-Doo, solving mysteries. I swear, she's going to grow up and be like some hardcore detective. And I just have this image of her like smoking a cigarette on the scene, like putting the clues together. And they're like, how does she do it? She just like looks back like, I have my She's like, I have my handy dandy notebook. And I'm like, what? She's like, I grew up on a hardcore diet of Scooby-Doo and Blue's Clues. But yeah, Jania's at work. Solomon's still asleep. It's a nice Saturday that feels like it might be December again. The weather here in Ohio has been crazy. It was real cold. Then it got warm again. That's why I always sound like I'm sick, because my allergies don't know what to do with itself. But we are in Armageddon, and it's been an interesting kind of crossover. It's been kind of refreshing and fun. And I thought, you know what? I have this idea. And I was like, I'm going to kind of pitch it to James, see what he thinks of what I think the next crossover event should be. And
well, I'm watching the 2 episodes, episode 2 and 3 today.
Cool.
That is my plan. So, but whatever you got to say, spoilers out.
It's not spoilers. This is just Tyler's idea if I was working and kind of plotting and like, okay, so we got to do another crossover event. We want to reinvigorate this, yearly thing that fans look forward to. But before I give my pitch, James, what do you think? What would you do if someone came to you like, James, what should we do for a crossover?
I mean, in my opinion, something that's long overdue be a type thing, a Mongol.
Mic drop, because that's exactly my pitch.
I mean, it's very long overdue. Haven't had any Mongols since cartoons. There's never been a live action Mongol. And just the fact that they have done, they CGI'd Despero,
yep,
and he looked good for the TV.
Yep.
I mean, like, could do these bigger characters on TV now. Like, they couldn't do physical prosthetics on the big guy in Smallville for season 8. The Smoke Dark Side.
Mm-hmm.
Then they've done Gorilla Grodd on The Flash, King Shark. They've done some really physical things with a lot of stuff. CGI television to really expand.
I agree completely, because we kind of touched on this and just mentioned it, I think, a couple of years back, because I was like, the movie series, the DC movie series was building Darkseid as a villain. Marvel had Thanos, and I was like, what the TV series needed was their big bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought Mongol was the perfect person to put in there. And now with the use of Mongul in Action Comics, I'm like even more as I think this character crucial. So here's my pitch, right? Here we go. You go back to the old format of like the first few episodes of the season. And what you have is you have this person arrive, alien person, and it's Mongul, but he takes with like, you know, at the time tech of like a disguise and looks human. And we see this person. I was trying to think of who I would cast, and I haven't figured it out. But we see this person kind of in the background on the individual shows, just kind of assessing the world. And then what happens is right before, as the crossover builds up, you have our heroes start appearing on World for a tournament. Now, here's the idea. From Batwoman, you have Luke Fox show up as Batwing, but not Batwoman herself. You have Black Lightning show up again. You have Martian Manhunter. You have Superman from Superman and Lois. You have Diggle. You have the Flash. Now, Diggle at this time, depending on what they do, you know, my hope would be we have him as Green Lantern Diggle. You know, that's the ultimate goal, is that when he shows up, he's Green Lantern. We have Vixen come back. The Vixen of the current Earth from back in like season 3 or 4. 3 of Arrow. This will be our first appearance of post-crisis Vixen. But this is where it gets really fun. We have Citizen Steel, because I feel like he hasn't really got his due from Legends. And, of course, probably Sarah, because you have to have Sarah because she's the face of the show. But this is where my idea gets crazy. From Titans, we have Superboy and Nightwing. Stargirl, we have Hourman and Stargirl. Swamp Thing shows up. And then we have Rita and Negative Man from Doom Patrol are all pulled onto the world. And maybe, and just maybe, if we're going to play around with the new multiverse, we could have Brandon Routh Superman show up as well and have 2 Supermen in the battle. And Mongul wants these fighters that he has chosen to fight to the death. And then you have a 3-episode, basically, tournament of like Mortal Kombat style on a world leading to them fighting Mongul in a gladiator type match. And I think it could be a very interesting, because, all right, character like Martian Manhunter, you could technically kill off. Not that I would want to, but to have stakes, and Vixen, and even Swamp Thing, depending on what they're doing, you know. These are characters who you could potentially kill off in this battle to give stakes and weight to what's going on, but not lose anything on the individual shows.
Right.
And it would be like a battle. And I was thinking, you know, more characters that you could potentially bring in. Maybe some villain type characters. Like, I was trying to think who hasn't, you know, post-crisis, like things have changed. Like, who we could bring back or bring in is, like, you could bring in King Shark maybe if they wanted to, or Gorilla Grodd even. Probably Grodd would be cool. Because you know how they always want to conflict against what's going on with the movies.
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of my pitch, is a big world battle. And like we see the planet, it's right outside. It's in Earth's atmosphere. The heroes are battling on it. And you could incorporate things from the current Action Comics run. You could even maybe bring in Manchester Black. You know, bring him back.
Yeah, that'd be.
And
him to bring in too.
and maybe introduce new characters as well, if you wanted to. Like Apollo or Midnighter, if you wanted to.
Yeah, they would fit well on CW, except for Midnighter's killing.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You just make it kind of for this kind of crossover. But yeah, that's my pitch. I think it would be stakes. It would be big. It would be like a tournament of champions, of heroes, and how our heroes have to fight each other in what makes more sense than just like trying to find a way why the heroes would fight each other. That's my crossover pitch for next year.
Yeah.
It's funny how we were both kind of on the same page before. Like I said, it's been festering in my mind for a while. But I like the idea of bringing in like Superboy, you know. And since we haven't had anything on the shows yet that have introduced us to the new multiverse, this could be a way of doing it. So, like I said, It's not a complete pitch because there's a lot of working parts of what's going on and everything, but this is my overarching idea. What do you say, listeners? Any feedback, ideas? What would you do for a crossover event? Shoot us a message, drop us on Facebook, tweet us, whatever. Let us know what you're thinking. James, final thoughts on the pitch?
I've tried to figure out. I'm still at a loss as what to bring them together beyond abduction. Maybe not all of them get abducted. Maybe somebody gets abducted and they all are world trapped.
I would think what would be cool, as I'm working through this in my brain, Brandon Routh, Superman, gets abducted. But Tyler Hoechlin's Superman goes to World. Like, maybe him and, him, maybe like Luke Fox and Black Lightning or something, have a small team that they go to World to stop it, you know, because like Barry gets abducted and Martian Manhunter. And that way we can find a legitimate way why we have both Superman, but find a way to bring back Brandon Superman. I think would be fun. And then you could, if you wanted to, in this, you could kill off Brandon Superman. Not saying I want to, people, but just to have the stakes, to give that character closure, to really make it an event. Something big. But that's where I'm at. And, you know, if this was something I could actually do, I would put a lot more thought in developing all the story arcs, the beats, and everything.
Well, stuff I can see, like with so the things we can notice currently on show.
Yeah,
you know, less out on the streets, less shots, all that outside of like the core.
Yep.
Something you could see with that shooting limitations is like cages.
Yep.
Keeping people in cells separated. So visually, you know, it would work. And actually make it seem, you know, almost more gladiatorial. Have some people, some beings fighting each other and fighting to the death. Everybody just cheering on back. Everybody cheering on death. That's the way of the world. It's not just the Colosseum. It's life or death everywhere.
You could even have it something where it's like they're broadcast throughout the universe. So like you could see people on other alien planets watching the battle.
Right.
I mean, we could even, dude, this would be a perfect opportunity to bring back, to bring in a new, better Vandal Savage because it's post-crisis. because we haven't seen Vandal Savage since, he was done okay on Legends and Arrow, but we could bring back and have a really more like Young Justice feel Vandal Savage.
Yeah, Young Justice Van. He's hard.
Yeah, he is. So that is
it's like the Vandal Savage from Justice League trying to blow up a third planet, solar.
So what do you think? So will this be a good idea? For a crossover?
I mean, I think so. I think it's definitely some. I mean, the first place I want to see him, CW, probably, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I want to see this stuff, and if it's I mean, if not, you could retweak this idea and make it a event movie for HBO Max, and you could then just kind of flip it and maybe rely a little bit more on some of the characters, like I said, because I'm incorporating the HBO characters in it,
right?
And just kind of flip it a little bit, but then bring over some from the CW, and kind of do the same event, but maybe make it as an HBO Max exclusive movie.
Do a big budget crossover.
So, well, all right. I think we're good for now. We'll dwell on that. We just wanted to kind of quickly do that, and want everyone to hear it, think about it, and let us know your thoughts. And remember,
Look up in the sky.
Do you like movies? Of course you do. Do you like comic book movies? Of course you do. Well, our Patreon is launched now. It's $1 a month. That's all we ask. $1 a month to hear great content. And right now, one of the biggest things we're doing on our Patreon is movie commentaries. I am a movie person, and I love to talk about movies. So what we're doing is at least 2 movie commentaries a month. You'll hear the wonderful voice of my wife, Jania, more often, and other special shows. Check out our Patreon at KryptonReport.com/Patreon. And all we ask is, hey, $1. It helps us keep the show on. We're not looking to get rich. We just help with the cost of doing this, and it helps a friend out. You loan a friend $1, you probably have $1 lying around the house and change. So check out patreon.com/KryptonReport. Sign up for the $1 a month and send us a message. You can be on the podcast. We can talk about something, anything you want to talk about. You can join us for a movie commentary if you want. So check it out.
And if you want to have a good time, keep listening to the Krypton Report.
If you're enjoying this podcast, here's some of our favorite podcasts to check out. Digging for Kryptonite, The Aspiring Kryptonian, Superman the Animated Podcast, The Last Sons of Krypton, The Geek of Steel, the All-Star Superfan Podcast, It All Comes Back to Superman, and Superboy Legacy, Supergirl Radio, and of course, always hold on to Smallville. Check all those out, enjoy those supercasts, and remember, keep listening. The Krypton Report is a Tears production. We thank you for listening and enjoying, and please support us on our Patreon account, our TeePublic store, and check out our social media. Always remember to look up in the sky.